first, we got to start with the king. And I've started a lot of shows. This goes without saying. In the four and a half year history of Car, we get up talking about one LeBron James, who last night, the guy's a freak. Last night against the Brooklyn Nets, I'm hearing, it's the Brooklyn Nets. It's an NBA team. And doing what he did at age 39 is insane. LeBron James in 37 minutes dropped a 40-burger with, by the way, a cool 7 rebounds, 5 assists. It's not just that he dropped 40, ladies and gentlemen. He did so on 13 for 17 shooting and 9 for 10 from three-point range. 9 for 10. LeBron James shot 10 three-pointers, missed 1. A fun fact, not necessarily for me as a Warriors fan, but it's pretty remarkable. LeBron James this season is shooting 41.6% from 3. It's the best he's ever shot in his career from distance. That is better this season than his old running mate back in 2016 that won a title with him, Kyrie Irving. It's better than Klay Thompson, a Splash Brother, and it's better than the Splash Brother, the Splash Man, if you will, Steph Curry. Now, mind you, the shots Steph takes are obviously more difficult than probably anybody in basketball, and he obviously takes way more than LeBron does on a game-to-game basis. Nonetheless, it's outstanding. And I was thinking about LeBron today. I don't want to make this a Lakers topic because I talked about the Lakers last Wednesday when they beat the Bucks without LeBron, made that big fourth quarter comeback. I said that validated what I've been saying all season. Don't care what their seed is. That's a title contender. That Denver will beat them, I think, but Denver's not. Let's be real. Denver would much rather see Sacramento in the first round than the LA Lakers. Okay? OKC doesn't want to see the Lakers. Minnesota definitely doesn't want to see the Lakers. I don't trust Minnesota at all. The top seeded teams don't want to see the Lakers in a 7-game series. As far as LeBron, though, so you think about a guy who came into the NBA in 2003 in a league that was still, again, sort of reeling a little bit or maybe a lot after the retirement of Jordan. Obviously, Jordan came back, played a couple years in Washington, but that was, of course, Jordan was a shell of himself in his older age, didn't take as much care of his body, and was an even worse teammate with the Washington Wizards than he was with the Bulls. But collectively, the league just simply was not as popular as it used to be in the 90s. LeBron came into an NBA where a three-point shot was nice to have, but not something that was like it is today, 20 years later, 21 years later, required almost. Like, again, I've said for years, or for the last few years, the only star player, only superstar player in the NBA that can get away without a consistent three-point shot or jump shot in general is Giannis Antetokounmpo because, let's see, he's literally, statistically, and by the eye test, the most dominant player we have seen in the paint since Shaq. He's not better than Shaq in the paint, obviously. Shaq was a man amongst boys. Not to say Giannis is, that Giannis just isn't on that level, obviously. Giannis only can get away with it because he is, after all, the Greek freak. Everybody else has to adapt and shoot the three. But as far as the word adapt, think about this, folks. Anybody in any walk of life who is not an original at what they do, and they come into an industry and change everything, i.e. Jeff Bezos with retail. All right, back in the day, or how about Netflix and Blockbuster? Netflix and Blockbuster were the same company. Netflix saw where the market was going in terms of streaming. They adapted. Blockbuster didn't. We see where Netflix is today. Blockbuster, I'm not sure. I think they got like one store in the United States now, if I'm not mistaken. The company's dead, essentially. Originals who change everything don't necessarily have to adapt. That's Steph Curry. Now, Steph has changed aspects of his game. Steph's improved his handle. Steph has put on more muscle. He can finish at the rim better than he used to. You know, he's a better defensive player, I think, in year 15 than he was in year 1. Steph's changed aspects of his game, but at the core of what Steph is, moving without the ball, shooting at, the most ridiculous level we've ever seen anybody shoot. Steph hasn't had to change his game. LeBron has. LeBron James around, let's call it 2015, 16, 17, somewhere around that area, because LeBron's a smart guy, in my opinion, highest basketball IQ ever. He saw where the league was going, and he said to himself, okay, right now, again, we're calling this 2015, 16, 17, still in the heart of his prime, still winning championships, still going to a bunch of finals in Cleveland. He looks around the landscape of the league and says, okay, I can still dominate the league by just hitting the occasional three, a nice fadeaway. LeBron has over time developed a nice fadeaway, kind of similar to the way Jordan did at the end of his career, right? But I can get into the paint, drawing the help defense, drawing weak side help, kicking out to an open shooter, and let them do the rest. Let the chips fall where they may in that regard. But if I want to last, and that's what we talk about LeBron, like, oh my gosh, he's averaging 25, 8, and 7 on over 50% from the field, over 40% from three in year 21, which is mind-boggling. But part of the reason why is because of a decision he made a little less than a decade ago to look around the NBA landscape and say, the league is changing. I have to change with it, or at least tinker my game to adapt with it in order to sustain this. Can LeBron still be dominant down low? Can LeBron James still get almost any shot that he wants down low when he drives the basket full steam ahead like the locomotive player that he is? And then on occasion, if the help defense comes, kick it out to an open shooter, you better believe it. Can he do it at the same rate he could in the middle of his prime? I know LeBron's so great, but this isn't prime LeBron. Let's not forget what LeBron was doing at the peak of his powers. He can't do that for as great of a rate now as he could then. So he says, I'm going to maintain my level of dominance while I lose just a little bit of my athleticism, although it's hard to tell, honestly. I'm going to add this aspect to my game, the three-point shot. And thus, last night, 9 for 10 from three. Thus, this season, shooting 41.5% from three-point range. I mean, again, LeBron in year 21 is still getting better at things. Of course, guys are going to get smarter by the end of their career, but oftentimes, and this is, I remember Tony Romo talking about this on a football a few years ago, different sport, but obviously the quarterback position, kind of like the point guard position, which LeBron's like a point forward, very cerebral position. You got to be able to process things quick on the fly. Romo talked about by the time he had gotten that down in his career, his body started failing him. And so he was never able to combine the peak of his athletic powers with the peak of his intellectual and being able to break the game down. Those powers. That's what makes Mahomes so amazing. Like, he's got an innate gift to just read things at the blink of an eye, and he has unbelievable abilities as a player. Again, if you combine Peyton Manning's ability to break stuff down at the line of scrimmage with Aaron Rodgers' talent, you have Patrick Mahomes. That's LeBron. Is he the same LeBron now as he was? No, of course he's not. Like I said, let's please not forget what LeBron was doing at the peak of his powers. 2013 Miami, 2018 Cleveland. Best 2 seasons I've ever seen for LeBron James. But this is last night, and this season is a perfect representation of what has driven him to as long of a career as he's had. And listen, he talked about after the game in the locker room, hey, I don't have a whole lot longer left. He joked, I'm definitely not be playing another 21 years. But being able to say, whenever it is time for me to hang these sneakers up, these King Jameses that I'm wearing, whatever edition they are, whenever it is time for me to walk off the court for the last time as an NBA player. By the way, in a league where I've spent more than half of my life as it's weird to say, but an employee of, if not the face of, for 21 years. I want to make sure I have gotten every last ounce of myself that I could possibly get. We can argue Jordan, LeBron, GOAT. I said earlier this season, LeBron, I forgot. I think he had a massive in-season tournament game. I think it was against Phoenix or something. He had a massive performance. And I came out the next day on this show. It was on a Wednesday in the middle of football season, leaning with LeBron. I said, can we just stop with Michael versus LeBron until LeBron's retired? Like, again, I think LeBron's the greatest player ever. Many agree with me. Many disagree with me. But can we put that off to the end of his career and recognize what we're witnessing right now, which is the greatest prime we have seen in American team sports outside of Tom Brady. Tom Brady's the only guy that can look LeBron eye to eye and say, I had just as great of a prime as you and just as long as of a prime as you did. It's incredible what he did last night. So hats off to LeBron James. Again, big picture for the Lakers. Obviously, them blowing out the Nets wasn't surprising at all. They're a much better team. And again, I maintain what I've said all season long. Through their highs, through their lows, that's a championship contender. That team can win the championship. Been saying that all season long. Don't trust Darvin Ham. Don't trust D'Angelo Russell. Everything else I love. And by the way, I think I saw some stats today. LeBron's leading the league in scoring in the fourth quarter. But then again, I could have sworn I've been told he's not clutch. Seems pretty clutch to me. Even though Steph should win Clutch Player of the Year because his clutch stats are better. But nonetheless, fantastic performance by LeBron last night. And it is a perfect representation of why his prime, or not his prime, but why his career has lasted as long as it has with him playing at the level that he is still somehow playing at in year 21 at age 39. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.